I hope you guys are awake. I sort of am, but it's better than not, right? Anyway, today is January 24th. It's 2 days after my birthday, and I am feeling good. I hope you guys are feeling just as good as me, or at least halfway there, because I'm feeling really, really good. So we'll see how you guys are feeling. It is the middle of the winter, apparently. There is snow everywhere except for Atlanta. Actually, I'm a liar. There was a little bit of snow. I had to gently wipe my hand on my windows today, or yesterday. I didn't go anywhere yet, but yesterday I had to lightly remind the snow to get off of my car, and it politely said okay. They really didn't have much to complain about in that regard. So thank you, more sharks. I appreciate it. I did have a good birthday for those that didn't ask. Fuck you. I went out and I don't really know what I did, actually. I ate some food. I had a good time. And then I streamed at night. So honestly, all in all, it was a good time. So what do I think of Eager's coach? Eager has a coach? I didn't hear anything about that coach. What up, Hoppo? Our resident Xbox man. How you doing, buddy? So I didn't have to deal with the snow, which is always good. I'm not a fan of doing that. It's actually weird. I miss the snow now that I'm down here. I saw all my friends up in New York, and they are just screwed. It was illegal to drive a car yesterday. If you were on the road, he would just get you just get smoked. So definitely, I'm glad that's not the case. But I look outside, and I mean, it just looks like an everyday day. I like to know that it's winter, so the fact that it's cold is actually kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie. So the next episode of Really Che Guava, that's an interesting conversation. I actually don't know. Believe it or not, I don't know. Kret has just recently taken a job at High Res, and he is a QA guy. Aurora, stop punking me. Who the hell is Eager's coach? And he's a QA guy, which means he does a clumsy job, but he does it for Paladins, which is a game that's super new. So basically, anytime there's a bug, Kret has to identify it and probably do something. I think that Eager's coach is a big carrot, so I think he's just a big carrot. That's what I think about Eager's coach. You guys are not friendly. So yeah, smite shit. Combine's going on this weekend. Theoretically, we find some secret talent that nobody knows about. Theoretically, right? I don't read video descriptions. I didn't see no video. I didn't watch the video. Ha! Ha! So, let's see. Zapman is the one. And there's also, of course, many roster discussions. Yeah, Bill Iskner. Yes, you carrot. You had respect for me? Oh, well. Let's see. Yep, nope. I don't see a video. So, that's that, I guess. What's that? Anyway. Combine yesterday was the first day of the Combine, North American style. I watched a little bit here and there. I only really have two people to take away from the entire Combine, honestly. A lot of people were discussed. There was a lot of people that people enjoyed as far as the standout players are concerned, and the scouts. For example, right here, everybody highlighted in yellow are going to be the standout players. I think my man Penumbra got a shit end of the stick. I think Penumbra was one of the people that kind of stuck out to me. I think that he was real good, but I mean, he's an Xbox Pro, so I don't know if that counts. I don't know if that's a big deal. And Q-Tip, actually, was a player that really stood out for me. He was interesting. Ataraxia did his sort of, I don't know what you want to call it. his report card is what they call it. You can take a look here. Ataraxia gave him quality points. Ataraxia said about this guy Q-Tip, he was the MVP of the lineup. He was fantastic on comms, which I heard when it came to the picks and ban phase. Q-Tip was really like directing traffic. Ependary likes Q-Tip's music. But so this guy was decent. Ataraxia liked him, so he can't be that bad. But no, seriously, he was playing all right. He played Sobek and his mechanics. Sobek is a god that, like, if you suck, everybody's going to know. You're just going to go for the dash and totally get smoked. So he pulled it off. He did pretty all right. And, that's that. I don't know. I wasn't super, I was excited about this combine coming into it. But now that I'm sitting here, it's like, I don't know if we're going to find another adjust, right? Like, and Daysology, so I had a conversation with Meerkat, actually. And Meerkat was like, oh, we're not going to see any new people. And the people on the top of the game aren't going to see any new people, right? Like, last year, Daysology was not a secret. People knew who Daysology was, right? At the upper end of Smite World, right? Like, if you're a pro or a semi-pro or hang out in the super top end of ranked and stuff, you're going to know who these people are. But it's all the everybody else's that really this combine is for. So, I mean, that's really, everybody likes to have this sort of, like, holier than thou attitude, like, nothing is new and everything has been done. And, and I think that's unfair for the combine. Like, theoretically, it's for top teams to discover new talent, but realistically, it's for, like, top challenger teams and middle of the pack teams to really invite new talent that finally got a chance to put on a show. So, Roy, you going to tell me who your goddamn coach is yet? All right, so apparently we got to see. Oh, well. Apparently we got to see Zapman's video. Because he said something at the end of it that we got to look out for. So I did watch it, but I just didn't watch the whole damn thing. So let's take a look at what Steven Zappa said at the end of his video.
And one more thing, I know you guys are just crazy roster apocalypse maniacs, and I know you guys think these are some crazy roster changes and everything like that, but there's more yet to come, not from my end, but from other sources, and I think you guys will be pretty shocked. So I'm just going to leave you with that little teaser, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and stay safe in the snowstorm if you're out in the Northeast. Thanks, guys. Take care.
There you go. All right, so it looks like this is what people talk about. Beliskner. I don't know who he is. If it's a Smurf name, oh well. I don't know who that guy is. So, shouts to you if he's helping the team out with analytics. I'd love to know you, Beliskner, but I don't know who the hell you are. So, I can't give an accurate opinion for the Eager guys that are coming in there. So, we'll start off with Eager. It wasn't really the beginning. You're the coach of COG? Well, that makes sense. So, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. So Eager actually get to keep their spot in the SPL, which is sort of a lie. They get to keep Cognitive Gaming's spot, which is fun. So the way the SPL works, right, is the organization is the big daddy or the captain, and I'll explain that. So as we go into the next season, all of the spots, all of the SPL invite spots will theoretically stay the same, right? So assuming everything goes well, you get Envy, Eager, Cloud9, TSM, Enemy, and COG all stay in the league, and then the bottom two get relegated. Same thing for EU, but they suck, so we don't talk about them. Well, here's the problem. Teams change, especially in between seasons. So for a team to stay here, they have to retain 3 of their 5+1 roster, right? So it's a situation where if Eager wanted to stay in the league without having to go through relegations or something, they would need to play through, or if they wanted to avoid playing through the relegation shit, they got to keep 3 of their 6 members, 5 plus the coach, right? Well, Kret's got a job at Hi-Rez. You already know about Team Flex, which we'll talk about, which is Laz's and Maddie. So Laz is off the table, right? So if Eager wants to keep the spot, it's got to be Zapman plus Dare to Carol. He's on Team Flex. Kret, well, he's with Hi-Rez. Polar Bear Mike, and, well, there really is not room. I mean, you take a look at the Eager roster. Like I said, PBM is okay. Dare to Care's on the team. Zapman's okay. Laz is on the team. And Omega's on Envy. So, you take Kret out the situation. Eager can't keep their spot. So, what happens is Eager works together with Cognitive Gaming. And they're like, all right, look, DJ and Aurora, you guys want to play together. DJ, Aurora, and the best all want to play together. Well, we can just plug and play in there. So, it's technically Cog's spot. But as you all know, Eager will be playing under the Eager banner. So it's the Cognitive spot. So Eager will come in actually in the 6th seed. Not that seeding means anything in a pro league because everybody plays each other once or twice, depending on the length of the split. But Eager will come in the spot of Cognitive Gaming. So that's a little bit of magic as that's concerned. DJ is the leader and the captain of the team. Let's see. He wants to talk about how he suggested it last season, and APC acted as if he was an idiot for suggesting it. Yeah, you guys picked it up a rule. It should have been that way since day one. Well, I can't comment as to why or if APC acted like you were an idiot. I'm not going to call my man Adam out for that because I wasn't there. But, I don't know. I guess I could come up with things like rules change, blah, blah, blah. It's not my favorite rule in the world, honestly. I don't actually love the 3-1, the keep 3 players rule. I like things. Label me the bad guy, but I like the Pain Devion situation. Because he succeeded, right? And if he failed, he would have been the bad guy. He's still the bad guy, but I like that sort of thing, especially in between seasons. My 2 cents is I would have liked even more fluidity between teams during the inter season. But esports is so... Esports contracts aren't as, like, set in stone as traditional sports. So, like, you sort of need some sort of rules to prevent super teams from happening every other day. So, Adelaide's pissed about the platform lock. That's another change that we had coming into Season 3 was the way that teams work now. If you are in the challenger scene or trying, you can try on both consoles. You can do whatever the hell you want. But if once you make it into the SPL, that's it. You're either a Pro League smasher, you're either a Pro League console guy or a Pro League PC guy. There's no in between. So you can't scrub out and then become a world champion anyway, like Allied and Omega. Omega actually gets 10 points, I guess, because he's a 2-time world champion. So everybody's like, oh, he did it twice on 2 consoles. And everybody else on Envy is just a PC dropout. It's funny how that works out, isn't it? Relegation should lock you? Well, no, because I think it's all about giving people the like optimal chance or like the chance to actually do something. So it's definitely something, you know, I like the direction that it goes in because Envy it was fun watching them play in an open bracket, but I don't know. I think it's an interesting look at things. But so we touched upon the rosters already. I usually like to go in order, but Zapman and his team Eager made me start off with Team Eager, Cognitive Gaming. And yeah, again, not my favorite rule. Pern, I guess good job for suggesting it, but I guess it creates some sort of like, you know, normality of everything. So if we take a look at the other teams that really made a swap, Europe actually had some big news this weekend over in the world of Hungry for More. That's the newest team coming out of it. Well, not the newest team, but that's one of the more rumbled teams, one of the newer teams, if you will. So you've got Variety in the jungle, Captain Twig in the mid lane, or Captain Twig in the jungle, unfortunately. And they'll take Pretty Prime in the mid lane. Ataraxia and Zindern make up the long lane. Ataraxia playing Hunter, Zindern on support. It is an interesting roster. It's a very interesting roster. I don't know. Variety got better. Variety definitely got better from being terrible. I don't think he's terrible. I think it's unfair to call him terrible. But I also, Denny's isn't terrible. I still don't want to order from there every day. I don't want to live in a Denny's. And I don't want my solo laner to be Variety. I think that he might do better in this meta, depending on how it goes. It feels like solo lane is less tanky, but we'll see. Captain Twig in the jungle is, again, I don't like it. I actually think this is a bigger mistake than Variety in the solo lane. Captain Twig is a fantastic one-on-one player. I love him in the mid lane. I would love to see him play around with a lane. But in the jungle, we saw what happened. SK spent an entire season carrying a sack of potatoes. And yeah, you know what? A couple of times that season, that sack of potatoes was something absolutely fantastic. He was exactly what the team needed. But how many times can you make fries? Captain Twig, I don't think he's a jungler. I'm not a fan, and it's a problem for me, which sucks because I love the guy. I think Captain Twig is like one of the nicer dudes on the planet, and like I said, he is a world-ranked, top-of-the-world joust guy, 1v1. He did fantastic in a lane. Why stick him in a jungle? It makes no sense. No complaints about Pretty Prime and Ataraxia. Good players, great players. They do what they can, It works out. Yeah. The funniest thing. You know what the biggest point of Fnatic's entire year in the jungle was? The 2 weeks that Captain Twig was gone and Epidemic got MVP. I'm just saying. Zindern is going to be playing support on the squad. So Zindern is a player that's been in and out of the pro scene. He's shown up and he's certainly disappeared. But this is a player that I think has always gotten I don't want to say an unfair shot because he's definitely had more than enough chances. Zindern is a guy that he keeps trying. And I give him credit, but when is it going to work? And so I've talked to him recently, not one-on-one, but, in chats and whatnot. And basically the vibe is things are different this time, and I'm a different player with a different attitude. And for what it's worth, we've never gotten that before. So, it's one thing when, it's going to be different this time. Every single time, right? You don't trust a smoker that keeps on smoking. But this is the first time that he's things are going to be different, blah, blah, blah. So, I'll give it a shot. Plus, Zindern is Ataraxia's older brother, so this synergy in the duo lane with two siblings might be something worth a shit. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I don't know if I trust this is a new world for Zindern. I think Ataraxia even mentions that, yeah, it's Zindern's turn to prove that he's not a major douche, in the words of their own mid laner. So, we'll see. WizKid says that he knows that Zindern's a different player. I was working him yesterday. He didn't call him Lord Jizzkid. I never thought about that. That's your entire name. I'm never going to call you anything else. I don't know what the hell this Burrito Esports thing is. I'm not taking the bait. It's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna take the bait. Omri, so I am the reason that joke exists. I forget when. No, I don't. I remember when. I forget who. It was years ago, quite literally years ago. Not last year, but probably the year before. Yo, Allied, if you want to bring bagels, I will unlock my door right now. You can bring me bagels. But so it was years ago when Zindern was actually a nobody instead of just sort of a nobody. And Ataraxia was on the come up. And like Ataraxia was on the come up on Titan. At the time it was like Agilitas, not even Aquila. And Zindern was like rumbling in the Challenger Cup, which is where I was casting. I was running the Challenger Cup with Kret and Moji and Hindu Man. And somebody told me it was probably Ependary, that freaking troll. It was probably Ependary that was like, hey man, just so you know, here's a tidbit for your casting. I know you want to be the caster guy. Here's a tidbit for your casting. Zindern is Ataraxia's older brother. So I took it as gospel because I trusted the person. Like I said, it was probably Ependary. And, I went on the cast with Bart. It was like we were casting these weeklies, right? And because I ran the Challenger Cup, but then I would cast occasionally with Bart, like on the internet. And I was like, oh, Zindern's Ataraxia's older brother. And Bart was like, I have no reason not to believe you. So, okay, Zindern's Ataraxia's older brother. And then he definitely wasn't. And we both looked like fucking idiots. It was, hilarious, I guess. Maybe Zindern created, Zindern probably told me that, honestly. Now that I'm thinking about it. Out of all these people, it's probably Zindern. No. So Moji didn't work at High Res. When we did the Challenger Cup, we were all contracted. We all lived at home. This was 2 years ago, right? And High Res gave me a contract, and they were like, hey, run the Challenger Cup. You can invite people if you need help. And so I was like, word. Me and Kret will cast. I don't want to cast every game. Let's get Hindu Man. There's no way I'm doing camera. Let's call it Moji because she's cool. That's literally how it went down. And so we ran the Challenger Cup like that. Oh, now it's Ependary. So the second I say it was might have been Zindern, Ependary comes up and goes, but wait, it was me. And he wants me to believe him that it was him. I don't know, man. I don't know. Ependary's too tall to trust. Have you ever seen Ependary? He's real tall. Ependary's actually really interesting because another team that's missing holes, because as I said, Captain Twig. So Captain Twig is playing jungle for this team hungry for losses. And Captain Twig was still on Fnatic the last time we spoke. And I said that he was leaving the team. I knew it was going to happen. This team was announced a half hour after first period was over. So, there's a little bit of insight. But so Fnatic has two holes. They've got a jungle hole and they've got a support hole left by Badger, because Badger left. Here's the thing. I want Ependary to play jungle for Fnatic. I don't know if it's going to happen, but boy, do I wish it would. I think Ependary was exuberant when he played. I really liked the plays that Ependary brought to the jungle when Captain Twig was out. I think it fit perfectly into the Fnatic squad, but rumor has it that we're not going to see him there. Either way, I just want Ependary to play. He's been masquerading as his coach for Fnatic, but frankly, I don't know how much he's done. I mean, I'm sure he hasn't just sat on his hands, but it's pretty telling when a team has to hire a coach when you're already the coach. So, Kret helped out Fnatic at Worlds. Ependary couldn't coach hard enough, I guess, but he can play hard enough. I wanted to wind up on Fnatic, but we'll see where he goes. Maybe finds a new team. People are spamming Big Man Tings and Jiffy in chat. So Big Man Tings with the Big Man Rings is definitely one of my favorite names of all the SPL. But Big Man Tings played on a team that was trying to get into relegations. I played... Sometimes you can see him playing with Jermaine, if I'm not mistaken, in the ranked queue. But he is I feel like he's Europe's Polar Bear Mike. I feel like Big Man Tings is Europe's Polar Bear Mike, where he is good on the surface, but obviously has a lot to learn. And some of that has to do with playing on a big stage. But we'll see how that works out. I think that Big Man Teams, Jiffy is a character that's kind of like, I don't know, I guess you would call him European Masters pushing it, but essentially Jiffy is this guy that's super, super, super good, super mechanically gifted, never been on a big name team, and is kind of an asshole. So that's all rumor. I don't know if that's true. We'll see if that's actually the truth and if that's actually what the matter is. But yeah, that's supposedly his thing. I think he used to play in the World Edit, and then, as I said, Big Man Tings is like, Ebonary says he's better than PBM. I believe it. It's just like that's a good comparison in my eyes, where it's a player that hasn't played. I see this wall text from DJ. I'm going to read it. He hasn't played on the big stage yet. He's sort of like flirted with it. He's got a lot to learn, but I like the mechanics that are there. DJ at a left field says, here's another rule. There's no reason an EU or any team can't have two to five players be from cross region. I don't like cross region play. Creates international teams. Yeah, so there's an obvious disadvantage when it comes to online play, and it can be different after 1 month boot camp. I think it's interesting, and I guess that just comes down to like a style choice, personally. And like again, I'm not the one that I don't do much, if any, league operations. I am just a lonely commentator boy, but I actually just don't like that for the reason of I don't like that. It's interesting to think about, sure, and it's fun, but I think having region locks just makes it, I don't know, regionality is interesting to me, and it is arbitrary, and it's artificial difficulty, I guess, which is something I actually despise in my video games, but I think I sort of like it in the sense of what we're doing here. And the counter argument, of course, is, well, the talented Smite player pool is so small that it's something that should exist and you can have better teams overall. But I don't know. I think drawing the dotted line arbitrarily with regions is fine, especially when you can lean back on the idea of good international online play doesn't exist because of ping. Players already complain about ping when they're both in Europe or whatnot, and DJ has his own problems with the servers since they're not Western based, but I don't know. I just not a huge fan. Season 3 starts probably a couple of months. Cloud9 did not confirm their roster was permanent. Thoughts on the changes? Yes. I actually have some really hot rumor. I'm going to be that guy. I have some really hot rumor regarding C9 in a couple of minutes. That comes from a pretty reputable source. And for what it's worth, Cloud9 contracts are up Friday. Just saying. So, next on the European team list, London Conspiracy is no longer London Conspiracy. They have changed their name to the Cringe Crew. What an applicable name. Goddamn. They're the Cringe Crew. Zashu's still in solo. Mid is Kiro. I feel like that's Arrow with a name change. We'll see. Maybe it's different. Somebody let me know. Shaggy, Shank, Emilzy, blah, blah, blah. But Repicas has joined the team. Repicas has joined the team, so they can cringe together. I don't know why the team decided to leave London Conspiracy. They didn't really, say anything. But so, yeah, Deathians came out and was like, yep, London Conspiracy, see you later. We're now called the Cringe Crew because we're really cool. But I think he got a missed memo on what cool means. The Cringe Crew is one of the worst names I've heard. Kiro is Arrow. That's what I thought. Nothing really surprising there. So basically, it's the same roster from last year without a Cherio and plus a Repicas. A lot of people are probably going to disagree with me here. I think this is closer to an even swap than it's Repicas. I think Cherio was that good. And yes, no more Africa in the SPL unless Cherio finds a team. Cherio was our lone player from Africa. He was from Egypt, if I'm not mistaken. So he won't be represented in the SPL at the moment. Yeah, they're actually called the Cringe Crew, Evil Llama. Did they mention it here? They don't mention it here. But where the hell did they mention that they would be playing under the name Cringe Crew? I feel like on a Deathian's tweet or something. But yeah, it's they're called the Cringe Crew. So like Cheerio playing from the pyramids. Yeah, man. Cheerio was so freaking good. And here's the thing. He played exceptionally well on like 200 ping, right? It was ridiculous because your Egyptian ping was awful, right? And I mean, it's just gotta not be good. Oh, it's 2 days ago so it was Deathian's Twitter that he said that they would be called Cringe Crew. And of course I can't find it. But in any event, yeah, Cheerio was a big player. He was a great player. And then once he came on land, I mean, you saw what happened. He was excellent. But the ping sucks, and he really hated jungling, right? So basically what happened was Cheerio left, and Fails, who was their sub and a jungler, kind of got screwed because Repicos is... I mean, you're not going to say no to Repicos. You don't go, all right, dude, we're going to say no to Repicos. Like, that's sort of like the Omega Envy situation where, like, you just don't say no to that person. So, they pick up Repicos. As I said, I do think it's going to be a step up, if only because of... I do believe it's going to be a step up, if only because of ping. I think Cheerio is a player that somebody should pay money to move. If that was a thing. Fails, I don't know if he was their current sub, but like Fails had played with them and was like sort of, I don't want to say on that team, but in the group. So Deathians comes out and he's like, I'm sorry for Fails. He's a great player, an amazing person, but Repicos is here. So there you go. Soggy Sandal and Deathians are still on the sidelines. Fails was on the challenger team. I imagine that like Fails was playing with them and doing stuff, and then, you know, got booted again. That Get Fisher life. Ally, do you think Repicos is Utra LC? I think Repicos is Utra. I think Repicos is a step up, but I think I value Cheerio higher than a lot of other people did. Cheerio is based in Egypt, which, I mean, his ping was just awful. And I mean, I talked to him at LAN where he was turning up, and I was like, hey, I like you online, and you're playing well here. And he was like frustrated. He was like, man, I wish like I didn't have ping issues, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, you got to keep playing. And he was like, I don't know. Why hasn't Anatoly been picked up? I don't know. Anatoly is a good player. He's not a great player, but he's not a bad player. He's definitely a good role player for the right team. Maybe that team doesn't exist. I'm not sure. So the Cringe Crew. Awful name. Awful name. What a surprise, though. It's Europe, right? There have been some truly awful names in Smite. Down to Frag? What was that? Down to Frag was certainly awful. What was Pecky's team? Slam Jam City was awful. You think Zashu's... Stevie Beefy's not bad. Stevie Beefy's not bad. Zashu is good. But... good role player in the sense that, like, he's not going to be the star of a team, right? Like, when you see an eager team put together and you're like, oh, Zapman, right? And you see Team Flex and you see all these big names like... Anatoly's not going to be the big name on a team, but he can, like, be the guy on the side. Amaranthine was an awful name. I don't know. Cringe Crew versus Melior Mariah. Or What's Kraken was awful. Spicy Waffles was... See, you want to be in the Challenger Cup, whatever, dude. Name your team fucking Molasses and More. I don't care. But once you come into the Pro League, like, your name... I'm not saying you have to be F.Dot's Professional Esports Club, but, like, Spicy Waffles had to have a logo made, and the story behind Spicy Waffles was that was an accident. They were called Team Beer. And we were like, well, it was before me. They were called Team Beer. And Hi-Rez was like, yeah, dude, you can't be Team Beer. And so they were like, okay, this is the best part. So Team Beer They get told they can't be named Team Beer. And they're like, all right, you have to change your name in like 2 or 3 days. And I'm like, okay. And they go away. And 3 days pass. And I remember talking to Dan, and he's like, dude, you can't fucking be called Team Beer. What's your team name? And then I forget who it was. It was probably Half Devil of all people. He just comes back and goes, okay, we're not Team Beer. We're Team Reeb. And Dan goes, okay, that's beer backwards. You can't be Team Beer. You get one more shot. And then, like, they just come back and they're like, all right, we're Spicy Waffles. Because, fuck you. So, you know, and then at that point, of course it was Half Devil. And then at that point, Dan has to, like, make a logo for a professional team called Spicy Waffles. And it's like a chili pepper on a waffle. Like, come on, man. That's your professional team name? Spicy Waffles? Ugh. Bipolar Method. Like, that sounds cool, right? Like, you know, Slam Jam City and Down to Frag. Like, I made fun. But they're like cool Pinewood Derby names, right? Like, yeah, man. Spicy Waffles? Come on, dude. Fat Chunks Assemble. Kirsch, you're totally right. Fat Chunks was the worst. Like, Fat Chunks, Spicy Waffles, and Cringe Crew should all have a Royal Rumble with Melly or Mariah at the top of the ladder waiting to elbow drop the winner. That's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen, honestly. Thirst. I mean, like, Thirst was bad, but I mean, that's Wolfie's team. What do you expect? You know? You expect, like, Wolfie to come out with a name like John Steinbeck novel? Nah, dude, it's just Thirst. Yes, you can be Molasses and more. Elo Fishers? That's Get Fisher's team. It's named after somebody. It's a shitty name for a shitty guy, and it works out. No, actually, shouts to Get Fisher. I hope he finds a team to sub on. Get Fisher has been booted so many damn times. It's not even funny. So the big news, obviously everybody's already heard it, but the North American team to like actually make the impact is Incon. Well, he's replaced by Envy and Omega and blah blah blah. That's the Fisher's on Xbox. There's no surprise. Get Fisher is the Xbox guy. Of course he is. Of course he is. That makes too much sense. I should have already known that. That makes too much sense. But so, I mean, if you've been living under a rock, you didn't catch the news. But if you are above ground and not underneath any geological bullshit, then you know that Envy is now without Incon. He got replaced by Omega. Seemed pretty obvious to me, honestly. Omega plays with the Xbox crew. They play for like a month straight under super high, like, gotta practice all day, gotta practice all day, gotta practice all day, all work, no play, all work, no play. Like, if you're in that sort of environment, you're going to gel, you're going to hang out, you're going to be friends, you're going to have fun, you're going to work well, you're going to build chemistry. You're not going to want to play with other people. And I mean, so the situation when it comes to that, you want some music? It's Mr. Bungle, actually. This is not even good music. But when it comes to Incon and Omega, Omega says, hey, can I join your team? I have won the World Championship 2 years in a row on 2 separate platforms. I am goddamn one of the best players in the world. You don't go, but we have friends. You go, of course, dude. Yes, you can join. We'll figure it out. You figure out how to make that work. And so you say, all right, you know what? Listen, we want to have Omega on the team. And this is going to happen. We've got 6 people for 5 slots. Let's figure it out later. For now, let's play some Xbox. Let's win. Let's go ahead. You know? And so Yes, Incon is one of the better players in the world too. But this is the thing. Yes, Omega, you can join the team. Should we kick? I don't know. Allied Kiki, I don't know. These seem to be the obvious places to go if you ask anybody in the fan world, which is not a thing you should do. I don't know. But we'll figure it out after we play Xbox. So everybody plays Xbox for a month. And then after a month of hanging out together and doing nothing else, yeah, you know what? We just spent 30 days with the new homie. Incon's been hanging out with Hi-Rez and doing other stuff. Like, yeah, dude. Sorry, man. Like, sorry, man. You're outie. And that totally sucks. That totally sucks. But when it comes down to it, I mean, there's two things that there's one thing that pro gaming and sports definitely is, and that's a business, and it's a business of winning. View counts, friends, and Reddit threads talking about how nice you are don't bring home championships. They just don't. Which sucks. Incon. Now, I guess you look at this team, right? And it's unfair to compare Incon to Kiki. Because it's not really that cut and dry, right? Like, Incon can also play mid, so you got to talk about Allied. And, you know, do you move Omega? The fuck is Cyclone Spin doing in the ADC role? It's a bigger conversation than just like this spot for this spot. You know what I mean? But at the core of it, is Incon better than Kiki at the support role? Sure. Okay. I'm not completely sold on that statement. Kiki is a damn good support. And before everybody jumps on me, like I said, that statement's much more to do about Kiki's level of play than Incon's level of play. So I think that people undervalue what Kiki has done in the support role because they don't see it as much. And Incon is like this figure the size of fucking Saturn. So people are just like, oh, I see Incon stream 17 hours a day. I know how good he is. And occasionally, in between breaks of watching anime, Kiki will show up on somebody's stream playing Smash Bros. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. When it comes down to it, I think that Kiki has a lot to prove, and that's what this season is about, and that's what you got to look at. And again, like TL brings up, it's not just like, is this player better than this player? XYZ. Players aren't robots. That month of Xbox hanging out together, it actually means something. Gelling is important, sure, but also just liking each other is important. I mean, I talk to this from a commentary standpoint, right? Like, I'm a professional and I can cast with whomever, but my commentary with people that I like, and I generally like everybody I commentate with, is going to be better than commentating with somebody I do not like. Because just by default, there are going to be situations where I want the team fight, not you, me. Or, you know what, I don't think this guy actually knows what he's talking about when it comes to Warlock Sesh, so let me break down the numbers. Fuck you. Or, you know what, I'm the cooler person, let me be up front. And all three of those come into the gameplay as well. Like, I don't trust this guy to watch my back in the jungle. He's not good at it. Like, these are things that have to be, like, valued. Weekend did make a video. It wasn't super positive, and he's actually made 2 videos because of it. The first one was Weekend being really cut and dry, just like, look, basically in video number 1, Weekend said that the team wanted to go pursue Xbox because they wanted to win, and Incon had no desire to play Xbox. In Incon video, and it's a whole bunch of he said, she said, but I'll give links. In Incon's video, he mentioned that everybody. He didn't want to like buy an Xbox. He didn't want to be the guy. He didn't want to really like get involved with controller and stuff.
Or not.
Which, I mean, sure, I'm broke. I can't afford an Xbox, but, you know, that's me. I'm not a pro gamer. And Weekend drew from that. Incon didn't want to buy an Xbox and blah, blah, blah. And so Weekend drew from that, which this was his old video. It's private now. Weekend drew like, hey, he doesn't want to buy an Xbox. He doesn't have the competitive edge. He doesn't have the desire to be a world champion. I can connect those dots if I'm forced to. But, Matt Yankee, you wish. I can connect those dots if I'm forced to. I don't necessarily connect them immediately. But if I'm a player that wants to win, basically I view it as frustration. I kind of like view it as this team really wanted to win and play Xbox, and Incon's the guy saying, no, I don't have gas money. And so they find the dude that has gas money. You know what I mean? I think that's really what it comes down to. And just, lost out on that. Weekend made a second video because he's a wiener. No, I'm just kidding. I actually talked to Weekend in between the video that he took down and the video that he put up after that. While the previous video was taken down, he says right here, like, they got mad death threats and stuff like that. This team got in a lot of trouble. Not in trouble, but lobster with the real words. But yeah, so Weekend, he thought he phrased things incorrectly, and he came to me because I know there's a lot of hate on Weekend. I know there's a shitload of hate on Weekend for what went down. And honestly, Weekend came to me, put that video up, and he said plainly, Incon didn't have the competitive edge that we were looking for. He didn't want to play Xbox with us. He chose to go be a broadcaster with high res for the SWC. It showed him that, he's just about the money. So we're done. See you later. We love you, but we're going to take Omega Who Wants to Win. You got to understand where Weekend's coming from on this one, because I get it. I don't necessarily agree, and to be honest with you, Weekend means what he said, but means it in a different way. Because as I said, Weekend came to me in between the two videos, and Weekend was cut and dry and didn't word things in the best way possible. But essentially, what it comes down to is, he doesn't have that competitive edge. I think he's all about the money. Is really, Incon didn't want to win everything like the rest of Envy. There is no way to splice that differently, right? Like, Weekend wanted to, they didn't win PC, so they went to Xbox. They wanted to win. Incon opted out. That's not a character flaw. Incon didn't want to play because it's a new console. He didn't want to buy one. He didn't want to play with a controller, blah, blah, blah. Those are all valid reasons. But the truth is, the rest of the team went on to try and eventually succeeded in winning something, and Incon didn't. Call it a sellout. Call it an alternative way to win. That's just the truth, right? So that's just the truth of the matter. Like I said, I don't necessarily think it's a character flaw. The way Weekend phrased it made it sound like he's not a winner, he's a loser. Ah! But in reality, I think he was just telling the truth in a really shitty way. All about the money is, again, that's the extension, right? Like, you gotta think that this team is a team that loves each other. This is living room, Matt Yankee. I don't know why it's so bland. But so, you also sit there and the connection is this team are best friends. They love each other. Weekend actually gets real into it about how close him and Incon are in this video. And when all four of you, when the rest of the team wants to play and Incon doesn't, that is not a good feeling. And so he's probably just in frustration, like, whatever, man. It's about the fucking, like, money. Whatever, dude. Go get paid by high res. Get your guaranteed paycheck. We're gonna gamble and try to win something. So, we'll see how it works out. What a lot more than casted employers of high res did similar things. Clizzo. I have no idea what you're talking about. Why don't you be more specific? Just saying. But so I think Weekend caught a lot of flack for something that not necessarily in the right department. So here's the problem. I actually loved this idea. That Incon would coach Envy. Omega would play solo. I thought this was fantastic. But Incon left. And that sucks. I think that with these 5 players, even allied in mid, feeding like lobster, I think that these 5 players plus Incon on the outside as a coach, that this was a team that could sort of repeat the situation as far as how well they played last year up until the Super Regionals. Word, I'll talk about that in a sec. But since Incon opted to leave, which Incon feels like the reason he got kicked off was because of a YouTube video where he said that he was like, oh, you know, they kicked me off. They didn't tell me. Incon tells the truth. The team didn't tell him until later. In the team's defense, the team didn't want to ruin his vacation. A lot of missed signals. Probably wasn't dealt the best way possible, but these are almost impossible situations, so take what you will. It is a tough situation for anybody to be in. Incon wound up leaving. He brought a lot of dishonor to the team, or whatever the hell. I sort of get that. So, this is the next big part of it. The conversation of drama and all this nonsense that came from this, like, big Incon off the team, right? When it comes to high-res employees or people like, that's the job, right? Like, we're all, like, commentators as well as pundits, right? It is our conversation, it is our almost responsibility to be conversation leaders. Now, not everybody liked that what DM had to say, but it's true. You know what? You know? I mean, it's true in the light that DM said what was correct, in the sense that Incon made a video showing or explaining details that were semi-private. I'm glad that they're public. I'm glad he was honest, but he definitely aired dirty laundry, and that is a thing. I think it's unfair to label the Smite community as gossip mongers. The world is full of gossip mongers. That's how that works. Everybody enjoys gossip. And so that's part of pro sports. That's part of Hollywood. That's part of high school. That's what makes the world turn. So it's not a situation where DM or a caster or myself, because I also put my opinions out there on Twitter. And I did it on a show called First Period too, right? Like, it's almost part of the job to be invested. I mean, at the end of the day, dude, I would much rather have the people that are leading my community be invested in my community than have casters that are radio silent until the first game and just sit there and go, hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game 1 of the spring split in the SPL. My name is F-Dot. I haven't seen you since Worlds. Let's get into Smite. That's bullshit. That's fake. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I would much rather have the figures in my community be part of the conversation. It just feels more real. I want these people to be passionate. So Brandon comes out and has an opinion, which I respected and I enjoyed, but more importantly, I respected the fact that he can have an opinion. I'll tell you one thing. If Brandon had said the opposite, if Brandon had come out and said, look, I think Weekend was the bad guy. All hail to Incon. You know what that Reddit post would have been? You know, let me clarify. I don't like the Brandon, comma, which is the same thing as I'm not a racist, comma, these days. I don't like the Brandon, comma. but I think he's got a good point here. I'm glad he's doing this sort of thing. That's exactly where Reddit would go. You know what I mean? But the fact that he didn't like what Incon said, that makes him the bad guy. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It is his job as a community leader to have a conversation just like everybody else. So, whether or not you liked his opinion, that's up to you. But to label a commentator or a high-res employee as anything but doing their job when it comes to continuing that conversation is off. Now, I saw somebody also mention when Dan tweeted at Cyclone that he was in trouble. Well, Cyclone doesn't follow Dan, so there's no DM. He doesn't answer emails. I mean, it's hard to contact players, so. So, I mean, I don't know. Not my favorite. Tukey Troll. I don't know if I have an alert on this screen yet. I got to fix these things. But Tukey Troll just subscribed. Thank you so much. Welcome to the team. Careful with your gun. F-dot shots. I can't even capitalize my shit. So, I don't know. There was a big hoopla. At the end of the day, I actually really enjoyed the situation of Omega playing solo lane and Incon coaching. I think that team with Incon as a coach could have been a number one contender for North America. Without Incon there, I still think they have a shot. Obviously, I like the roster, but I do think that Envy would benefit, just like all teams, from an outside coach. You know, that's how that works out. So, Lobster is so chaotic neutral. I mean, so when it comes to opinions and BM, it's all like riding the line, right? Like, I don't know. I don't think it's BM to identify a player that is the worst person on the team. That's an opinion most of the time. If coming from an educated person, it'll be a fact-based opinion, right? But 80% of people, 90% of Reddit are going to go out and say, well, that's BM. How dare you? Their jowls and shit, right? Like, I don't know. Opinions in BM are always so twisty-twasty in this world of esports and nonsense. So, I don't know. I think a lot of the nonsense having to do with the whole Envy Incon situation was, as my good friend Ed said, much ado about nothing. Season 3 came out. Big patch. Not out on live, but I would love to be a voice actor. Season 3 is out on PTS. Who's the worst SPL player? Who is the worst SPL player? All right, you want to call me on my money? You want me to actually bring a negative opinion that I don't believe is BM? Let's see. Let's click on Elevate. Let's click on... Oh, it's probably on Myrmidons or Justice, honestly. Some people would probably say Variety. Yes, we have Cloud9 rumors in a little bit. Should I? Nah, fuck it. Some people would say Variety. I disagree with that. We'll take a look at Myrmidons. God, this whole roster. Oh, they fails. I don't think it's fails. I mean, you look at this squad. I don't know if it's... So here's the thing. I mean, Vesalius, by the numbers, is the dude that got soloed the most in the SPL. Like, dollars to donuts, the amount of kills that people have received onto Vesalius without receiving an assist is the highest for Vesalius. So there's a metric that you could talk about if you want to bring up numbers. The most unassisted kills on an SPL player went to Vesalius. You take a look at Justice. I don't know. Sanjo played like half a game, right? This whole team is just forgettable. Keelan and Feck says won't be forgotten because they played before. But, like, you could just wake up tomorrow and say, who's on Team Justice? And you could say, Team Justice is Belly Flop in the solo lane. It's going to be Shangjan in the mid lane. Then you've got Joseph playing Hunter. Support is going to be Big Shields. And their substitute and coach is GG. And you'd be like, oh, is that the same team from last year? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Justice is more forgettable. And like a girlfriend that you forget is a worse story than a girlfriend that you actively dislike. So, we take a look at the rest of the teams. I don't know. I think it might be Jermaine or Vesalius. Jermaine had moments of greatness. He just stopped giving a shit. I think if you actually wanted me to identify the worst player in the SPL, it's Vesalius. My man, Julius Melgar, needs to work on things for this next season. He's going to be relegated. I mean, honestly, with these teams that are going to be facing counter relegation, it's going to be tough. You've got this Team Flex, which we didn't talk about yet. That is the new team out of Laz's. Laz's is going to be the captain of Team Flex. Yeah, exactly, Lobster. He just stopped giving a shit, which is, I don't know. So, I mean, Jermaine, if you remember me in the early, I got my heart broken by Jermaine, dude. When Mirminens first came on the scene, I loved that Jermaine Dardes lane. I loved it. And then Jermaine started trolling in games. And I'm down to excuse mistakes. I'm down for BM players or actual dickheads. I'm down for people that have character flaws but perform at a high level. I am down for all of the above. I might not be their number one fan, but I'm willing to live with it. A player that disrespects the game by trolling in a live event, fuck out of here. That's where I lose my love. But so anyway, Laz's announces a new team. Awesome to the Max could farm most anybody. He's just focused on school. The day that Awesome to the Max comes back to Smite is the day that I feel happy. I'm very excited for that. Laz's announced the new team. Mid Laz's solo, Matty Pocket, Jungle, Dare to Care, Guardian, Incon, Hunter, Oceans. Oceans is a player that many people have no idea who the fuck he is. In fact, somebody put together a background for Team Flex, and it was nice. But it didn't have Oceans on it, because, I mean, there's no pictures of Oceans, right? So, it was, oh man, I can't find it, but it was just the Ocean. So Oceans is a ranked all-star. Oh, Matt Yankee, I have a feeling you're yanking my chain. Also, the Max has been busy, but so Oceans. I'm not going to get derailed here or thrown into the ocean. Oceans is a ranked all-star who is very, very strong. Used to be known as Turnip. You might remember seeing him around there. He, put it this way. People used to think he was a Barracuda Smurf. So, people used to think he was a Barracuda Smurf. So that's got to say something, right? Oh, whoops. I did that. I tried to time it correctly, but I didn't. There it is. So you've got Matty Pocket. Well, actually, let's just start over here. Oceans. We don't have a picture, so we'll put him as an actual ocean. Laz's. He's had 2.5 years having people take pictures of him, and we're going to use this one. Dare to Care. The only picture of him on the internet. We'll use right there. One more time, Incon, another man with beautiful pictures. Gets one looking at his hand like he's Jim Carrey. And then Matty Pocket. Goddamn, dude. I have 2 issues with this picture. Matty Pocket, one, he looks like a homeless guy taking a mugshot. And 2, his head looks superimposed on his body, Photoshop style. Like it's too big. Like, it's just too big. I don't understand. And again, he looks like... No, you know what Matty Pocket looks like? It looks like... This is the card I would use if I was making a new entry in the hit installment straight to VHS Bum Fights. This is Matty Pocket's card. Matty Pocket from Hipsterville, USA, fighting for a protein bar. It's Matty Pocket. Much love to these guys. This team, I think, is going to be strong. I think that their fan base is going to be super strong. I think that this team's fan base will be rabid like Pizza Rat. I think that you are going to be on the bad side of an argument anytime you say this team is going to lose. Which might be a lot, honestly. This team does not have a secured spot into the SPL. So they are going to have to fight through an open bracket. There will be spots remaining in the SPL. I don't know how they're going to be divvying those up, but this team has a shot at being in the SPL, but I don't think they have a shot at being one of the top teams. I mean, Matty Pocket's a great player. He's good at solo. It's been a while since, he how long do I give Matty solo? I give it a while. I mean, this is a team that I don't see quitting, which is important. Laz's, Incon, Matty, Dare to Care. These guys are not quitters. I think that they're going to, do their thing. And they're going to be good, but not great. I would love to see this team do well. If you guys know me personally, I am a huge Matty Pocket fan. I only know good Matty Pocket. Rumor has it there's a bad Matty Pocket. I don't know him. So, I don't work on he said, she said. And while I trust all of the people out there that have nonsense to say, I have never witnessed it, so I have nothing, only good things to say about Matty. Matty in the solo lane surprised me a little bit. He's known as a support player. He's a good player, and honestly, Guardians play well in the support role, or in the solo lane role, so would I rather switch Incon and Matty Pocket? No. And I'll tell you why. I would rather have a support player move into the solo lane than a mid player move into the solo lane. Yeah, I love that too, Void. It's like Incon Laz is Dare to Care esports #1. But so again, the mentality Incon plays support, but Incon was a mid laner first. He's got a super bazillion diamond ISIS. That's his sort of claim to fame. That's what he was brought onto the esports world as a mid player. And when I think of mid players that learn the solo lane, I think of people like Confrey. And then I go to sleep. Solo lane needs to be a little bit more in their sort of play style. They got to be that Omega, that Maniac, that guy that willing to take a few shots. I think that Matty Pocket can do that. Incon, I don't know. Incon probably just felt more comfortable in support, so I'm excited for that. That's sweet. So I'm excited for this team. I think that they will be a middle of the pack, mid to bottom in the SPL, but I definitely think they make it to the SPL. There's always an exception to the rule of Flawless World. And for what it's worth, I always thought Dibby was a solo laner. There's definitely a link between mid and support, but you got to be a bully for solo. And I see Matty more of a bully than Incon. But yes, of course, Oceans definitely needs to prove himself. He was on the 2nd or 3rd place Challenger Cup team, if I'm not mistaken. I got to double check that. But Oceans has a history. Like I said, people used to think that he was a Barracuda Smurf in the world of ranked. So He's got talent. He's not a complete unknown. People know that he exists, but stepping up and becoming a part of this, like, the next level, so to speak, is a much different situation. So with all those roster changes, honestly, there remains to be two teams or two groups of people that we're used to seeing that we haven't seen yet. And that comes down to sort of the TSM side and the Cloud9 side, right? And I've got some juicy news on the Cloud9 side, so I'll be right back. No, I'm just fucking with you. Gotcha. So, TSM, Divios already is on Eager, right? Like, everybody was concerned about that. Divios winds up on Eager next to DJ Pernicus, the best, Zapman, and Aurora. Watch the fuck out. So, watch out. That team's going to be dirty. Divios is there. But so, what about the rest of TSM? Where's this Eonic guy going? Where is this Jigs guy going? Where's Gars? Where's Boosh? Right? Cloud9 also, interesting situation. Cloud9 said, no roster changes, no roster changes, no roster changes, no roster changes. Yeah? Well, I've also heard read my lips, no new taxes. I've also heard it'll never snow in Atlanta, right? Like, I've also heard something else incredulous that I'm not clever enough to come up with off the top of my head. The reality of it is Cloud9 contracts run up on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Don't ask me this Friday or next Friday, but we'll move on. Cloud9 contracts are over soon. And so what it comes down to is that Cloud9 are in a situation where they won world championships last year and they didn't this year, and that sucks. Part of what makes C9 so good is the fact that they've been together forever. There's a lot of chemistry on the team, blah, blah, blah. But roster changes are sometimes important, if not for nothing, just to keep people from being complacent. So you take a look, and this is not confirmed. This is not like, it's not confirmed, but it's not made up BS. I believe this to be true, that the new Cloud9 roster will be Andenster, Barracuda, plus Boosh and Snoopy. Now, I spoke to Boosh at Worlds, and I assumed that Boosh did not want to play. I mean, like, I just assumed that Boosh didn't want to play Smite. He didn't really play Smite. Everybody talks about not playing Smite, blah, blah, blah. And I spoke to him at Worlds, and I was like, dude, Boosh, are you going to play Smite? And he was like, yes. He wants to play Smite. He's excited to play Smite. And the thing with Boosh, screw Boosh. Boosh logs on once a month, and he's better than I'll ever be, right? Boosh is this guy that, like, if he played Smite, he'd be stupid good. Wait, he's already stupid good, and rumor has it, I mean, maybe he has got a secret smurf, but rumor has it, the kid plays more League of Legends than Smite. So, I mean, that's so blah. So this is a good team. Snoopy is one of the best players in the world. He doesn't want to play ADC. So what do? You get on the team with one of the best goddamn ADCs. Snoopy is going to be the better hunter on any team he joins. Except for like 3. And he picked one of them. You think Boosh is trash? Watch the replays. I don't think Boosh is trash. Boosh came back after a month of not playing. Cloud9 needed a sub. I think this was when they were getting interrupted during the regular season. And Boosh as I said, I always put a disclaimer because who knows what he does. But to my knowledge, Boosh wasn't playing Smite. Boosh was like playing League. Boosh was playing H1Z1. Boosh was playing Counter-Strike. Boosh wasn't doing anything. No Smite. He had already left the team. Cloud9 gets problems, right? Or TSM gets problems. They got to force a sub. Boosh comes out of nowhere and wins MVP for the match. Right? Like, Boosh is a good player. There's no question. Andy, LOL. Barra, and like I said, good for Snoopy. If he joins any team that doesn't have Reels, Zapman, or fucking Barracuda on it, he's the best hunter on the roster. Right? I give shouts to Vedium as well. But, I mean, if Snoopy joins Envy, he's taking Hunter away from Cyclone Spin, right? And that's like, so Snoopy finds a team that he doesn't have to play Hunter on. But here's the question. I named 4 people. Andy, Jungle, Boosh. So Andy, Jungle, Barra, Hunter. Duh. Boosh, I assume mid, which leaves support and solo open. Support and solo are open. I see Snoopy playing more solo lane, which brings Jeff Hindla back into the picture. If Snoopy plays support, well, you just go pick up basket again, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that it's more likely that Snoopy plays solo. Or that Snoopy... I don't know if Jeff Hindla's coming back on this team. There's a lot of conversation about Jeff's communications. It's gotten a lot better, but that's always been the topic of conversation, is Jeff's communications. Now, I'm not saying that's the topic of conversation from the Cloud9 guys, but around the scene, that is the conversation, is that Jeff's comms have always been an issue. They've gotten a lot better, but up until this point, they're not the most desirable. Now, I like the Barra Jeff lane. I think it works. I think that Jeff only gets better, and I see Jeff, I actually see Jeff get better. Sometimes you see Pro stagnate. I see Jeff get better. Super Regionals, a lot of people blamed Jeff's Sobek pick. Sobek is Jeff's, that's his choice. Sobek is Jeff's pick. That's his comfort pick. That's his go-to god. And he played it when the team needed a win, and they got a loss. Largely because of the Sobek pick not working. How much do you value that? I don't know. Jeff got bodied against Epsilon even without the solo pick, the Sobek pick. I don't know. One series, does it really mean that much? I don't know. I don't know. Bacchus, it's more the Sobek, honestly. Like, Sobek and Bacchus are his picks, but yeah, his Sobek just wasn't there. And, that's his thing. Yeah, like Morshark said, he was super hyped to pick the Sobek. It just didn't work out. I think, ideally, for me, Jeff is your support. Your solo laner is Snoopy, and you keep on trucking. Cats are not allowed in the Challenger Cup, only dogs are. But I don't know if that's realistic. If you put Snoopy in the support role, then you almost have to take Baskin. Because, as people in chat have stated, Andy and Barra are 2 members of C9, but Boosh and Snoopy are 2 members of TSM. Which means support can be played by Ionic or Jeff Hindla, and an SPL spot would still be saved. Solo can be played by Bickham, or Baskin. And I mean, I guess, you look at other players on these rosters that could play multiple roles, right? So you also have Heroin there as well, where Heroin could do it. Heroin could solo. But again, I don't like mid laners playing solo. So, is it going to be Bickham and his Sobek solo play? I don't think so. I love Bickham. I really do. In fact, I want Bickham, real talk. Bickham and I really like Bickham as a person and as a player. I want Bickham to play for another year, realize he'll never be on top, and then quit and become a commentator. Or at least go to school for commentary. That kid I think he could be very good. Like, on a professional level. Can MLC play another role? I'm not sure. I think Baskin is a better choice than Bickham if you need to choose one of those two people. Also, don't forget, these rosters to keep your SPL spot just have to be played once. The first week, once. That's it. That's all they need. I know that, Matt, and that excites me. But that's all they need is 1 week of Baskin or Bickham or Jeff or Ionic. After that, they can go wherever they want. But they have to play 1 week. And the problem with that is whoever plays week 1 is stuck on the team. So if Ionic wants to play, he's not going to do his buddies a favor by subbing in week 1 and then sucking his thumb for the whole split. So where's Gars going to go? Good question. Gars recently, last week Gars was here, and I said I wasn't sure if Gars wanted to play, and Gars said, I want to play. So, MLC generally only plays mid. Again, I got 4 names on a piece of paper. I did not get reasons why these were in. I did not get reasons why these were out. I couldn't tell you why MLC is off the team, or this isn't even, it's split down the middle, folks, right? It's split down the middle. It's 2 TSM, 2 Cloud9. So it's not like Cloud9 didn't kick MLC. They just joined TSM. And TSM didn't kick Bickham or Gars. They just joined Cloud9. So they don't actually have to have that conversation. They just go, hey, we're leaving the team. Right? They just leave. So I think that works out for them. But that does leave the question. As I said, I think Ionic going to Guardian in this team is something that I would believe. I think Jeff going to Guardian on this team is something I would believe perhaps slightly less. I think Bickham going to this team is unlikely. And I think Baskin going to this team is perhaps the second most likely situation. Gars, I think, is a question mark. I think Gars is the one that is sort of left in the wind. Gars and MLC are the two obvious, where do they go? And, that's a big question. Do they team up? Do Gars and MLC become the jungle mid bond that finds 3 other role players and fights their way through? I don't know. I think at the end of the day, Andy, Boosh, Barra, and Snoopy in the solo lane are joined by Ionic, which I personally would rather see Jeff here, but I think this team will likely go the way of Ionic. Yes, Jeff can only play support, which, I don't know. Bickham Fan Clan is taking applications. I would like to be vice president at the very least. So, F-Dot, which team between Eager and Flex seems stronger on paper? Do they have a chance against Envy? Eager, I think, is the easy answer to that question. Flex has a little bit to sort of prove, I guess you could say. Flex is a team that is going to be good, but Oceans is unproven. Matty Pocket is in a off position for now. Sure, maybe he's the best goddamn solo we've ever seen, but, you know, things need to be proven, right? So, a little bit of that. Whereas you take a look at the Eager squad, I mean, you got Divios, you got Zapman, you got Pernburn, Aurora. These are all people that, like, I trust pretty much to play pretty well. I don't think there's any reason to think that this new Eager squad is not going to be super good. Flex, I think, will either be kings of the Challenger Cup or a solid shoe-in for this area of the Pro League. If you think, you figure Envy, Eager, this new TSM Cloud9 Abomination, right? Enemy obviously stays in the mix. I think that Flex winds up here. I think that they going up against Denial will be an interesting situation. Denial is a team nobody's talked about forever. I think that Denial is doing the right things in the sense that they played Xbox together. And Elevate didn't. No question to me that Elevate gets relegated out, but I think that Denial will going to keep their spot. Yeah, I agree with that, Meerkat. I think they're going to be 7th or 8th, depending on how good Denial is this year. And I think they have a potential to be a little bit better than 7th. So, Enemy's new jungle? I don't think they announced that yet. That is still up in the air, unfortunately. Yes, Mr. Fasciano. Elevate rules. Sorry, buddy. I know you're the Long Island homie representing somewhere in the middle of the island, but I don't think your team has got it. Hopefully, you guys, I mean, I wish you luck. I don't hope that you lose, right? I never do that, but can I give you a flex? I mean, I'm not exactly the team flex guys, but there you go. Peckies gives a link to his own fucking tweet like an ass. Confirm new jungle. Ooh, God damn it, Peckies. You tricked me. This is not the jungler. God. What about Suntouch? I haven't heard anything about Suntouch joining a team. Ew, Suffolk. Starting a team. I mean, I have no idea about Suntouch. If he does start a team, I expect it to last for about 2 weeks. That's kind of his MO. Hey, look, I'm on a pro team. Hey, look, I'm not on a pro team, right? Although if Suntouch plays solo, then everybody can fill out their bingo cards because that means Suntouch has played every single role at a high level. So I think that's I don't know if Suntouch is yesteryear. You don't know who DJ Khaled is, Kirsch? What happens if you just YouTube DJ Khaled? I spelled it wrong, but who cares? You're the best Snapchat moments.
Hey guys, what's going on? For Complex News, I'm Tamara.
Shut up.
From the
Shut up.
Money in your savings account. Go spend some money for no reason.
And this.
Another one.
Why is she?
Another one.
This is the classic. Another one.
Another one.
That's the
And of
classic.
course,
That's the classic DJ Khaled moment. I don't know. He's a meme. You think Manny might pull off solo really well? I think that's a big question mark. I agree. Snoopy man, you got some questions to answer. Or I guess you don't have to answer, but Snoopy man. Shing's an Xbox boy these days. Snoopy man, can you tell me about this? Snoopy, can you tell me about this? That's Paladins. Can you tell me about this, Snoopy? Do you know anything about this, Snoopy man? Andy, Boosh, Barra, and Snoopy. How real is this? Can you tell me anything about this? Snoopy says, I don't know anything right now. One, that's a lie. Because you're a very smart man. You have tons of information in that brain. But if Shing is coming back to PC, then he is the jungle for enemy. If Shing is coming back to PC, Shing is enemy's jungle. Yo, I had other stuff on the paper. Okay, mate? But for real, if Shing is playing PC, he's going to jungle for enemy. You heard it here first. But Snoopy is what I want to hear. Snoopy is what I want to hear. Oh, no, Meerkat? Well, then who's going to play jungle for enemy? Who then? Who? I think that Matty has the potential. I don't write him off. And I would tell you if I didn't think that he couldn't play solo. But I think that Matty playing solo is a better look than Incon playing solo. So, I don't know. All right, Mask is going to play solo, a jungle for enemy. What the fuck am I thinking? That's old news. Mask will likely play. I'm trying to look at where would there be a spot. I mean, he's not going to rejoin Denial. Hey guys, can I rejoin? Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, maybe Gars joins enemy, but I doubt it. It's probably more likely Mask. But Game Hunter doesn't still play. Game Hunter made a comeback with, was it Justice? I forget if it was Justice or the High Level Challenger Cup team. They're the same thing anyway. And Game Hunter did a whole bunch of nothing. So, will we see a Just in the SPL? I don't know. It doesn't sound like there's many jungle spots open, but we'll see. You think Matt's going to get banned in a few weeks? We'll see. Night's Watch, that's what it was. Same thing. That rotating 8th place. But, yeah, I don't know. Wolfie is play. So Wolfie, yeah, I mean, Wolfie's like an analyst. He's a streamer. He's a thingamajigger. I don't know. So the questions are, Gars. The questions are Adjust. The questions are Fnatic, Big Man Tings, and Jiffy have been the names that people have been putting in chat. I believe Jiffy, Big Man Tings, I might need some convincing, but I don't see why not. As far as everything else, we take a look at the Pro League teams that are in there right now. Envy, we already know how they're changing. Eager, we already know how they're changing. So, you got MLC Stealth missing. Thank you, Kurj. You've got Gars missing. You've got the other guy that I said was missing. Adjust. And then, I don't know, question marks. Andy, Boosh, Barra, Snoopy. This seems real to me. I don't know who that jungle is going to be, though. Or who that support or solo is going to be. I guess that's really the conversation. I think it's going to be a solo. And of course, like for 1 week, it has to be one of the TSM or C9 guys. Who's my source? Oh, I'll tell you exactly who my source is. My source is... Yeah, just kidding. I'm not saying it's right, but I do think that it is more right than wrong. So, I don't know where MLC lands. He's a big question. MLC Gars, if this Cloud9 stuff is true, which is an if, of course, but I have no reason to not believe it. I think that it'll be rough for whoever's left out there. PBM for support. It has to be a member of TSM or Cloud9. Because if it's Andy, Boosh, Barrett, and Snoopy, that's 2 and 2. So it either has to be somebody from this team or somebody from this team if they want to keep their SPL spot, which they do. So. Oh, Elevate's first? Oh, my mistake. You think they should join up with Tolly? I don't know. All right, Meerkat's just spewing nonsense now. So, I mean, that's pretty much the wrap-up, honestly. A lot of crazy stuff has gone on. I'm sure we'll see if this Cloud9 Team Solo Mid rumor gets sort of solidified. We'll see where this goes and everything. Pretty sure that's everything on the docket. So, yeah, all in all, I think that so far Eager is the best team to come out of this nonsense. DJ Pernicus, Divios, Zapman, Best, Aurora. I think this has a real shot. Real shot at being something real. Team Flex, Lazarus, Matty Pocket, Ocean, Stare to Care, and Incon is a solid. I think they're a lock for the SPL. I think they can make it. I think that this team is the team to take Elevate spot, barring some super team. Let's pretend this half TSM, half Cloud9 team doesn't get their SPL slot because they opt for a outside source. Then I think that the conversation is bigger. But I think that Team Flex is the team that takes Elevate spot away from them. For sure. I would absolutely love it if Nulissa found herself onto a main roster. I think she's good enough. So, we'll see. New Elevate could win. I haven't heard anything about Elevate. So, the EU teams also saw a little bit of shakeup. We saw Hungry for More. That's Ataraxia's team. Variety in the solo lane. Captain Twig in the jungle. Pretty Prime in mid. And Zindert on support. Ataraxia playing Hunter as well. That's not true, Vlad Robo. I think that this team is fantastically mediocre. Nothing surprises me there. Epidary, you realize that your chat is on the screen. Like, it's on the fucking screen. So if that was supposed to be a secret, you're fucked, and Epidary and Nulissa are going to be a duo lane. I would advise you to send me a DM on Twitter instead of on Twitch because it's public. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Epidary. So I think this Hungry for More team is average. I'm not like super. I don't think they're the next anything. I don't think they're going to take over the world, but I don't think they're going to shit on themselves. Zindern is a big question mark for me, and I just plain don't like Captain Twig in the jungle. So, Hungry for More is interesting. London Conspiracy makes the right change as far as roster and the absolute worst change as far as name change. London Conspiracy drops their organization. They are no longer with London Conspiracy. They are shopping for a sponsor. That's not the correct term, but they're searching for an organization. And while they do so, they will be playing under the name Cringe Crew. They will join the ranks of Spicy Waffles, the Rambozos, and Fat Chunks Assemble as some of the worst names in professional Smite history. But essentially, it's the same roster plus Replicas in the jungle. So, that team will stay pretty much where they are. I think they'll be a middle-of-the-pack European team. Replicas might bring them up a couple of more wins, but I don't think Rambozos was a good name. Oh, my God. Do I have... Oh, at work I have all the pictures. I am going to get the Rambozos picture of you. Next week, I am going to start the show with Meerkat in his Rambozos picture. Like, I'm telling you, that's what we're starting off with. So, I don't know. It's one of those things. Oh, wait, I found it. So all those teams we talked about and mentioned, and And only more to come. We'll see where this Cloud9 shit lands and everything else. Thanks a lot, guys, for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I will catch you guys. I might, if there's more info, I might do a Wednesday show. I don't know. Sunday and Wednesday might be enough. Every day there's just not that information. But Sunday and Wednesday might be a thing. Anyway, again, I appreciate you guys hanging out. I did find that picture of Meerkat, so enjoy it. And I will catch you guys a little bit later. Peace! And much love to you. Here's Meerkat.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. There's certain things in life that you